listeners. All right. So thank you all. It will be a very quick conversation. I'm going to run through the slides very quickly, after which I'll proceed to discuss I'll open the floor for Q&A, and I would share some things with us on this call. So I'd like you to brace for impact and enjoy the ride. Now, why did we call this meeting? We wanted to introduce Krypta to the community and actually begin to explain the value of the community. And it's a short presentation that explains what we're trying to achieve with this community and to help everyone that is listening and will eventually join the community to get onboarded very quickly and to understand the value of our presentation. So you're welcome to today's presentation. Today we're going to be looking at two things. I'll quickly tell us what Krypta is, and I'll also tell us what the community is about. So when we're discussing what Krypta is, we're going to be looking at about Krypta, the nature and scope of Krypta. We're also going to be talking about the Krypta mission and vision. And then we'll proceed to talk about an introduction to the community, which will tell us what the community is and how to sign up and maximize the opportunity. So very quickly, what is Krypta? Krypta is a learning and development platform that takes its users' talents from a current to a desired career point. Krypta is a learning and development platform that takes its users' talents from a current to a desired career point, full stop. In other words, you know where you are, you know where you want to get to, let's take you there. Krypta provides its users with access to applicable L&D content from a top faculty, mentorship and career advisors, internship and work simulation opportunities, and lastly, access to a community of peers for collaboration. Usually, when people come together, there are benefits that accrue to that, and that's what Krypta seeks to deliver in this community. Our mission is to build a competent workforce for Africa. One of the things that we didn't have time to discuss on this presentation is the business case for Krypta. But I wouldn't bore you with that as much because you're not investors. But I would focus on explaining some of the key products of the Krypta platform. And one of them, of course, is the community and why we're here. Our vision is to build a talent community of at least 1 million users. 1 million is a lot. Let's talk about our community. What is the Krypta community? What are the offerings, the benefits, and how do you maximize value as a member of the community? Now, let's look at Krypta's offerings and how it is different. The Krypta community essentially is the 1 million plus that we're building of competent talent that can immediately get opportunities to add value in organizations. There are 6 areas that we specific about in our offerings. Curated content from the finest faculty. We have relationships with the best in class. I am not the best in class. I'm not the finest in the faculty. There are other people who have way more experience than I do in specializations or even generalists in their own domains, respective domains, that will be added to our faculty. So it's an ever-expanding faculty of people who know their onions that you would be able to glean value from. Now, we always talk about curated content. Our curated content, which leads me to my next point, applicable case studies, is built from our over 250 projects and 150 clients from our parent company. So Krypta was established by Enzo Krypton and Company, a management consulting firm that's been around for 7 years, but its partners and founders have been practicing for 15 years each. What Krypta has done is that it has looked at all the practical learnings from working with over 150 companies, from the office of the president, of which we have sent 2 memos to the office this year, down to Yabasira in Balogun Market. Krypta is taking content from this spectrum of potentially served clients. Career mentorship. We give you an opportunity, Krypta will give you an opportunity to connect with experienced mentors who guide you on your career journey. Essentially, mentorship is very delicate, and it's a powerful tool for some people have leveraged mentorship to get what they call career breakthroughs. And we're hoping that Krypta will provide that platform for its users. But what usually is hard for young people is to find the appropriate mentor. They usually go after mentors that are celebrities who will not have their time. You can't go and meet certain big names, which because you just attended their conference and say, hey, come and mentor me. That would be too much to ask for, frankly speaking. But there on the platform, you may find people like Abigail, people like Muriwa, people like Ayomide, who are not celebrities yet, but they know their onions and they create documents that go to CEOs and top executives. Those are the people that you'll be able to reach out to once in a while, or you belong to their mentorship class and get value. The fourth thing that is very important to Krypta is internship and role simulation. Now, one of the challenges that people have is when they embark on their personal development plan, what they immediately do is they now go and enroll on learning course marketplaces. Now, you know them, I don't want to mention their names, but the thing is, there's nothing wrong with course marketplaces, but most of these course marketplaces are built by facilitators who don't really work in the organizations we work with. I'll give you an example. You work for an organization that wants to do an outgrower program for farmers in Katsina State for the rice outgrower program. Katsina State government says, send me a proposal. After all your courses online, I can tell you, go and read any of the course marketplaces. No matter what you've learned, proposal writing, nobody really tells you, wait, how do I build an outgrower program for farmers or for rice farmers in Katsina State? Now, there are some people on the call who are asking me, what is an outgrower program? Well, you can Google that later. But my point is that Krypta would give you the closest thing to the real world so that your applications are more practical to reality. I give another example. Two companies want to merge, and you have to prepare a letter that is going to a very high-profiled client, very, very high-profile client. Like if I call the name of the client, everybody on this call will know. High-profile client. And you're an analyst and you've been told to listen in a meeting. It's 2 pages, and take notes and create the memo that is going to this high-profile client, requesting that 2 companies, right, with asset base of over 30 billion naira should merge. I mean, with asset bases, sorry, I beg your pardon, of over 30 billion each, they've been requested to merge. You're looking at me like, okay, I'm lost. Yes, these are the expectations. Now, it's only on Krypta that you will come close to such a simulation. I'll give you one more example. As we speak, a document is being prepared that is going to one of the chairmen of one of the biggest banks. And part of it is some kind of market scan. And the analysts are working to put that together. Now, when you're supposed to do research for a bank, what kind of data do you look for in the market that will make sense? What kind of insights do you draw? So what kind of ratios are you going to check for? What else or who else would give you this larger opportunity to figure out these things? Krypta. You will not find that on any global course marketplace, but you will find that in Krypta. So that when you now apply for a job and resume in the office and your employer says financial ratios, or it says outgoer program, or it says SWOT analysis, or it says, because those ones are easy, but or they say anything that you can recognize, you will not be lost in the room and be saying, excuse me, sir, what is SWOT analysis? Career modeling and advice. We will find you a career model and place them before you to shadow. So what does that mean? We're coming up with this concept where we look at the manual. Well, I'm a bit too far, respectfully speaking, humbly speaking. So I'm a bit too far from most entry-level people. I'm already in Mars. So let me come down to someone else. Maybe Bolanle. You meet Bolanle. Bolanle is hypothetical, but it also exists. So you say, I like Bolanle. Bolanle is really smart. I like the way she talks. I want to replace Bolanle. I want to be because Bolanle is not going to slow down. Bolanle next year wants to move forward with her career. So you say, I want to replace Bolanle. What's Bolanle? Bolanle is a senior business analyst / associate. So you want to be able to say, how do I become like Bolanle? So Bolanle will be there right in front of you to be modeled after. So Bolanle, you have access to Bolanle. Bolanle will come and explain to you the most strategic high level. High level means highest level of abstraction, conversation, and content that would help you to understand what you need to become like Barnaby. So we want to be able to put these career models right in front of you. Lastly, of course, is community. We give you a platform that encourages peer learning, accountability, and growth. And of course, if you're in a community, you know how exciting that is to learn. So these are the offerings of Krypta, and this is how it's different from another course marketplace. It is also important to note that Krypta is very, very concerned and focused on foundational learning. Now, there's a lot of content out there, and there's already pressure for people to join, to take on very narrow, specific functional areas. So the fad is like the reigning thing, everybody's jumping on it, is tech. Now, there's nothing wrong with tech, but even if you're going to do tech, Krypta will still, through one of its programs, Elite, which you get to find out about in future, will still need to give you a good foundation, or would encourage you to have a good foundation, so that no matter what you become, you can build on it. I'll tell you how. The world is ruled by generalists. So what do you mean? The president of Nigeria is not a data analyst. The president of Nigeria is not a computer programmer. The president of Nigeria is not a business analyst, and the president of Nigeria cannot be an accountant, right? Even though he might have his training. At that level, he has to be broad. But what will make him serve effectively when he sits down with his economic advisors and they start throwing macroeconomic models, or they tell him that businesses are shedding jobs because demand is dropping, or they tell him that they want to release a bailout fund to stimulate the economy or to stimulate certain sectors so that jobs can be created. It only takes someone who has a broad range of experience and expertise to be able to recognize what the impact is. So what we are saying is that even if you specialize now, if you don't have a good foundation, the type that Krypta would give you, that covers thinking, documentation, and execution, what will likely happen is that when you go further, the people who are more broad and general would demonstrate more capability. Now, if you don't believe what I'm saying, or if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to share a video on the community for those who are members of the community by Epstein, the author of Range, on his TED Talk. You listen to that, and then you get an idea of what I'm talking about, where he explained the wicked world. And when I say wicked world, I'm not talking about evil. The wicked world in terms of responsibilities, where they don't prepare you for deadlines, they don't prepare you for opportunities, and they don't prepare you for crisis. Anything can hit you, and you're required to demonstrate a range set of skills to deliver. Now, what's our approach with Krypta? Our approach covers 6 areas: L&D, LMS, learning and development, learning management solution, proprietary and curated third-party content on our resources. Now, I started by talking about how I mentioned there are course marketplaces that are all over the place. In fact, they're becoming too many to measure, to keep up with. Now, one of the issues that young people have is they're inundated. There's too much information. So Krypta, because of the depth of our experience, we know the perfect diet. So in other words, for those of you who are familiar with very good chefs, there's one chef that can come and prepare jollof rice, and another chef, an ordinary young guy, university grad, who just knows how to cook stuff in the kitchen. They will both prepare jollof rice. One learned by observing his mother, one learned as a chef. What you realize is that the chef's jollof rice will be way better. Why is the chef's jollof rice way better? Because the chef, meanwhile, they have the same ingredients. It's because the chef understands the combination of ingredients that have to come together to deliver the jollof rice. Krypta has the finest faculty who know. So for instance, if I want to teach you basic accounting, apart from the technical stuff that you learn in the classroom, one of the things that Krypta will tell you is, if you're an accountant, what kind of ratios would you show your boss or client in an organization that makes plantain chips? What kind of ratios are you going to display if you work for Domino's Pizza? Meanwhile, you are the accountant. You can't learn that. You may not be able to learn or understand that, but Krypta would arrange the content, because most times what happens is that people are malnourished intellectually. What does it mean to be malnourished intellectually? They have intellectual kwashiorkor or obesity. And on what it simply means is they do not have the thorough diet for the specific competency requirements. So there is all the knowledge you need is on YouTube and a few other places you can buy, or on other social media handles, or just even following people on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Now I'm seeing CFOs going on LinkedIn and posting fancy, brilliant frameworks and models that they use in their business. But the question is, if you don't have a good foundation, or somebody has not arranged the nutrients for you, like a proper doctor that will build a drip, you would suffer intellectually. The second thing is personal and learning and development framework and maps for roles, companies, and industries. What does that mean, Emmanuel? What we are saying is, Krypta would help you to build your own personal development plan, because at the end of the day, you are the one learning. Now, most course marketplaces will tell you that there's a very high dropout rates. Those dropout rates are driven by the lack of motivation. Most times we start the year with plans, but we don't stick to it because there is really nothing in front of it. We don't have anything we're chasing. But if you know that you have a role that you're trying to model, you want to become like Bolanle, or you want to become like Abigail, that model would plot a chart for you that if you do and consume this content in this order, in no time you'll be like Abigail, you'll be like Bolanle. So we would help you, show you how to build your person. And that's the emphasis of our third, not the next one, the third webinar, which you should watch out for, Upper Friday. But more importantly, people just don't want roles. They also want to work in specific companies or in industries. How do you take from where you are now to a desired company or industry? What are they looking for, and how can you be the perfect candidate? Krypta will also begin to help you map. And for our early career professionals, who mostly will be the undergrads that would come in future and enjoy this solution, they would have more runway to prepare for certain organizations, because Krypta is signing agreements with hiring partners that would hire right straight from our platform. The third one is work simulations and field trips. We're going to start throwing it open. Oh, we're going to Nigerian Stock Exchange. We'll put it in our community. Who's available? Oh, we're paying a courtesy visit. Krypta is paying a courtesy visit to the Director General or the head of strategy for a particular organization. We invite people. Oh, our Abuja team, we're taking you to head of strategy in National Mortgage Bank. What do you want to understand? You want to ask him a few questions. It's all going to be videoed and captured. But at the end of the day, yes, while it's promotion for Krypta, it is learning and development for you. You want to be able to go and understand, what does the head of procurement in PZ do? What does the head of procurement, what does the head of financial control do in Guaranteed Trust Bank? He earns over 50 million naira, but he's head of finance. What exactly does he do? Those are the kinds of things you want to be able to understand when you join Krypta community. Fourth, finance, faculty, and technical competence. Listen to me, and I say this with all sense of humility. Some of the brightest minds in Nigeria are on Krypta platform. I repeat, some of the brightest minds in Nigeria will be on Krypta platform. Number 5, workshops and webinars. You just need to stay tuned, stay close, and follow to learn. Learning every day, every time. Don't forget, we promised you a curated and well-sequenced systematic learning approach. So therefore, foundation, intermediary, advanced. So we take you on that level. Lastly, learning clubs and tutorials. Now, because we know there is so much to learn, I mean, how does Praise, or how does Folusho, or how does Tolulope, or how does Sadiq on this platform or on this call, how do they, I mean, Sadiq is struggling with he doesn't know how to use ChatGPT, or he doesn't know how to use Excel well, or he doesn't know how to build pivot tables. There will be learning clubs. Oh, hi guys, this Saturday, somebody's coming to teach us how to use pivot tables for a real problem, for an actual research. Oh, hey guys, somebody's coming to teach us PowerPoint presentation. And then you plug in, okay, I missed the club. Because you're a member of the community, right there on the LMS is uploaded. How to do this, how to do that. So literally 2 tricks. Oh, my boss says I should prepare a presentation, I'm stuck. Guys, I need help. The learning clubs and tutorials will solve that problem for you. Lastly, what will be the benefits in total? So if I join the Krypta community, how will that benefit me? 3 key things. Number 1, you're going to build competence, knowledge, skill, and work ethic for roles, companies, and industries. Competence, not knowledge, competence. You would have the knowledge, the skill, and the work ethic for specific roles. There's a role like a business analyst in a marketing team. Okay, that's very narrow, but even at that, jobs like that open and they start scrambling for specific types of people. But most times, the people that will be able to do this are the people that have very broad foundations. 2, become an attractive talent. Land your dream role and company. That's very important. So yes, you may be an accountant, but for a small pharmacy somewhere in Aja, that's great. But you want to move from that to Flutterwave. How do we move you from that pharmacy in Aja? After you've served them well and you've given them your best, but you want to move forward, right from there, straight to Flutterwave. That is what Krypta can help you get to. The last but not the least, build and navigate a successful career. Now we know that career is a journey. So it means that while we know your long-term plans, right? And even if you don't know your long-term plans, which is what you're going to find out tomorrow, because some of us stumbled on our careers, or some of us we're doing follow, so I call it. They're just following the fad. And for some of us, we're just desperate. We just need a job. Whichever category you fall under, we want to be able to navigate and give you very specific value that would ensure that at the end of the day, you're the most important person in the room. You need to remember that we're not growing younger. And as older as we get, the quality of our career or the quality of the tasks and jobs and opportunities we do, and the opportunities we pursue, would reflect in what we become. So Krypta would help you make sure you're making the right choices. So sometimes Krypta may advise you to start with Iyabasira, because while you're waiting to get into Enzo Krypton and Company to become a business analyst, you may need to be the general manager for Iyabasira, where you would understand firsthand the dynamics of building and managing a business, conducting data, convincing a difficult boss that does not know how to use a computer. These are some of the dynamics. But when through that journey and that process, even if you don't get to Enzo Krypton next, you may go from Iyabasira to the pharmacy, from the pharmacy to Enzo, and from Enzo, the sky is your limit. This is how Krypta would like to help you navigate your career with the quality of learning and development that you continue to experience. Thank you very much for listening. And this is the end of our presentation on why we're inviting you to join our community. Thank you.